Anthony Broome here from the Wolverine. The first edition of the college football playoff rankings are out, and we have your quick reactions to where Michigan football stands. But before we get started, be sure to like the video below and subscribe to our channel for more content. Michigan football ranked 5th in the first edition of the college football playoff rankings, just barely missing out on the top 4. Tennessee comes in at number 1, Ohio State at number 2, Georgia at number 3, and Clemson at number 4. Michigan and Alabama come in at 5 and 6, respectively. Now, the committee likes Michigan's workmanlike body of work and the resume that it's put together, but it's not a fan of the team's strength of schedule at the moment. The historically light non-conference slate has long been a talking point, and Michigan also doesn't have a road win over a team that is over 500. It's not going to have a chance to play one until they play Ohio State. Also, sidebar for the record, UConn is 4-5 now, so at least that win has aged a little bit better than initially thought. But again, the fact that we're sitting here debating the merits of a win over UConn tells you all you need to know about where the committee is at with Michigan right now. And that's where the strongest message was sent. If Michigan beats Ohio State, they're going to play for a Big Ten title and be a near lock for the playoff. If it loses a close game, there could still be an argument for them to get in. A competitive contest against OSU might keep them in the conversation, which, I mean, it has to be aided by decisive wins over Rutgers, Nebraska, Illinois over the next 3 weeks. But the message is clear. Show us you belong and beat the Buckeyes again, despite dominant wins over Penn State, a dominant win over a rival in Michigan State. Michigan has some work to do there, and it only can do that by beating the teams that are currently on its schedule. So that's what's ahead of them in the next couple of weeks. It's hard to argue Tennessee in the top spot right now. They have the best win of anyone in the country, knocking off Alabama. And even if they lose to Georgia on Saturday, they will have a legitimate claim still to a top 4 spot by the season's end, assuming that they take care of their business after this Georgia game as well. So Tennessee and Georgia play Saturday, and that should provide some answers in the pecking order, or it could complicate it. We'll see what happens. Georgia wins, and all of a sudden, things get a little bit weird, right? So we'll see what happens there. That will wind up depending on the game results and what it looks like. A lot of the things the committee looks at when they put these things together is game control, how you do control a football game. And that's why a team like TCU, if TCU goes undefeated and wins a Big 12 title, it's going to be hard for them to get in because of some of those other mitigating factors. But they're sitting there at number 7 and might have a case as well. So as far as Alabama goes at number 6, they still have games against LSU and Ole Miss over the next few weeks. Those will factor heavily in who winds up winning the SEC West, 2 top 11 teams. So Alabama hasn't quite been Bama yet this year, but they do have the opportunity for some resume wins, and they could complicate things moving forward. Alabama's always, we're coming off Halloween, but Alabama is the resident Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees of college football. So we'll see what happens there. We can run through all the scenarios we want to 6 weeks out from decision time, but Michigan's path is simple. Win out and you're in. Anything less than that is going to set up the table for factors outside of their control to determine what happens to Michigan. So we saw Michigan take its own destiny by the horns last year, and I think they do have the ingredients to do it again. So my opinion at the end of the day, me just being Anthony Broome of the Wolverine, is that Michigan probably should have been in the top 4. Again, this thing will decide itself on the field. So Michigan hasn't played a wire-to-wire competitive game this season yet. You can argue that the Maryland game was. I'm sure there are aspects of other games you can pick and choose why they haven't been as dominant as maybe these games have looked like to us. But the fact of the matter is that they have an impressive win in a demolition of Penn State. Whether Michigan's 4 or 5, the takeaway remains the same. Go out and repeat what you did last year, and all of it will take care of itself.